Do you remember back in school when you had that tight-knit circle of friends? The people who just had shared experiences, shared values, knew how to encourage you when you needed it. They were just your people. I definitely had a group like that. And every once in a while, we'd meet somebody new who fit in with us perfectly. Shared experiences, shared values, knew how to encourage us. And we would say to each other, she's one of us. She's definitely one of us. We could trust her. We could trust her advice. We could trust her not to judge us and to encourage us when we needed it. That's how I feel about my guest today. Kim Mosman is definitely one of us, Gen X jugglers. She has walked through some difficult moments in midlife, gained perspective, and is now on a mission to encourage the rest of us. She does that on the podcast today and in her book, Reflections of Joy. I love the path our conversation takes, and I know you will too. It's a good conversation. Stay tuned.
Nobody's ever gonna take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Welcome back to the Gen X Juggler Podcast. I'm so glad you're here. And today I am so happy to welcome Kim Mosman to the Gen X Juggler Podcast. As an author and coach, Kim specializes in empowering women embarking on their second act. She is a nutritionist with certifications from Precision Nutrition and the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and a wellness coach. With her faith-driven approach and experience as a gym owner, Kim offers a unique blend of spiritual and physical wellness. In her book, Reflections of Joy, Kim provides practical, faith-infused strategies to inspire strength, beauty, and holistic growth in every aspect of life. That's a lot that you bring to the table. Welcome, Kim. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I've started your book, and the introduction is even powerful and really brings you in. Can you tell me about your journey leading up to your experiences in your book?
There've been a lot. I had a great childhood, and I was active. I was a swimmer. I was a good student. But then I got to college and it just wasn't for me. And so I dove right into work. And again, I've just always enjoyed life, right? I've always done things that make me happy, even when some people might look at it and think, oh, I would never do that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I was a mom early. I got married when I was 20. I became a mom when I was 21, just days after my first anniversary. And I worked really hard in a gym, and I love working with young people. I was a restaurant manager and worked with young people. And I think all along life has just been setting me up to be a coach. And that's where I landed. And when Reflections of Joy came to be, I was just coming off of owning my own gym and coaching people. And yeah, it's been a good life, but a life full of experiences and situations that have taught me a lot, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, by this time in life, I think so many of us can say that. And I know you went through a time you had been healthy and active and fit, and that led you to be interested in starting your own gym. It's an interesting time when the thing you're passionate about and you leap out there to do becomes a lot of work. And I feel like that was what happened in reading your book. And passion does mean, I believe it's from the Latin to suffer, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like passion is about tiptoeing through the tulips in a gossamer dress. We have to work at it, but it can envelop our lives. And that's what you experienced during your work in the gym.
Yeah, I've been an all or nothing girl most of my life. And when I love something, I love it a lot. And I had spent my 30s, my mid 30s, just raising kids and doing what I had to do to get by because there was also work. And so my health and my exercise and my wellness really just wasn't a priority to me at the time. And my body showed for it. And I got to a point where I felt unhealthy as well. So on a fly by the seat of my pants sort of decision, right, which you'll also read about in the book eventually, I decided to sign up for an exercise class. And I had just quit smoking. It's one of those things, I think a lot of us in our age, we experimented with some different things. They became bad habits, but as we got older and we learned more, we quit those too. So when I started this gym program, I was 6 months, had just quit smoking. And here I am trying to kickbox and lift weights, and I thought I was going to die. But what I learned is that our bodies are so, so good, and that they will heal very quickly if we give them the right things. And I caught the bug, and I caught it hard. And I started teaching classes, and I started, my certification process, and started coaching people, and decided this is what I wanted to do. So I opened a gym, and really never looked back until, 7 years down the road. And all of a sudden, I had invested so much of myself into the gym and into coaching and into other people, which are all good things, right? All good things. But I didn't have a mentor in my ear whispering, you need to have boundaries. You need to take care of yourself too. You need to prioritize your exercise too. And it just became work. And I, at the end of the day, I just want to go home. And I had gained some weight, and then the embarrassment kicks in because I'm supposed to be the expert and I'm not supposed to gain weight, which really is ridiculous because our bodies change over time, right?
Yeah.
And especially as a middle-aged woman, you have no idea what's going to happen when your hormones change. And it's not that we have to settle, but sometimes we have to take a left turn where we've been, heading straight down a different path.
Yes.
And so I just reached a point where I didn't love it anymore. And rather than do something poorly because I didn't love it, we made the decision to close the gym. And, my husband was close to retirement. I just thought I was headed towards a different stage in my life.
I totally understand your experience with that. And especially when you're in a service, in a job that is centered around service, there's always someone who needs you. And it feels almost bad to not give what they need, but you're giving to so many in all day long, and it can wear on you. And it is important to learn how to set our boundaries, but that's so hard when it comes to people we care about and we want to help so much. I totally get that.
Yeah.
So then you had finished with your gym, you'd had that experience, you'd finished with your gym, and it sounds like to me that you, on some level, were mentally, physically, and spiritually a little bit exhausted when that finally stopped with the process of saying goodbye to the gym you'd worked to open and finally landing at home. Can you tell me what that moment was like? So many of us have had similar moments.
I was excited to begin this new life. I thought retirement and being able to be at home for the first time in my life, with no outside pressures, would be this glorious thing. And I'd go for lunch and I'd go shopping and I would do all the things, and my house would be clean and all the time clean,
Right.
And what I discovered is that I needed people, and I felt like I didn't have a purpose. My kids were off at school and living their own lives, and my husband's job kind of rekindled, and he was busy. And all of a sudden, I didn't have people every day. No one needed me, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And sure, I indulged in a few things I hadn't for a while. I mean, my alarm had been set at 3:50 in the morning for all those years.
Wow.
And so sleeping until 6 felt like super indulgent, almost vacation, And I was reading a lot, and I was cooking and just doing the things, but I was all by myself. And it just wasn't what I I wasn't ready. I'm still not ready. And it's, all these years later, I'm still not ready to be by myself every day. And I had to go out and search for purpose again, because if I wouldn't have, I can't imagine what life would be like today.
I feel like so many people can relate to that part of your story. As our kids grow up, as our jobs either become, what am I trying to say? When there's a lack of newness in our lives, everything's the same, but people are leaving. I think that's what I meant to say. Like our kids are leaving and things are just changing around us. And we don't know how to live this life, even though when we're so busy with our young ones and with starting our new careers and all the excitement of starting your adult life and living those early years, we do think, oh, there'll come a day when all this will be done and hopefully done well, and then it'll be my time. And then my time comes and I don't know what to do with it. That's such a very midlife problem. And I think our self-care definitely suffers because there's still things to do. There's still people to take care of. There's still details to take care of, whether or not they fit within our purpose of how we want to spend our days or not. And also, I think there's a very big element of when we are exhausted to our core, physically, mentally, spiritually, we don't take care of ourselves very well at all. We reach for things that make us feel good, or we zone into television, or zone into books, or zone into food. And we don't move our bodies enough because our motivation is so low. Do you see that in your coaching now that you've moved into coaching? Tell me about moving into coaching and how you found your purpose after that time. Then we can dive into that.
Yeah. I started with wellness coaching and just talking to a few women once a week. And it's great because I've experienced a lot of what my clients were experiencing. I mean, middle age is a unique place. We're all different. There's not that magic thing that when you turn 45, this is going to happen to you, right? And I developed friendships and camaraderie with other women who were in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who were going through the same thing where life's not bad.
No.
I mean, most of us feel guilty because we don't love our lives. And here we have the house that we'd worked for and the family that we wanted and the husband or the partner that we always needed. And yet something's missing and we don't know what that is. And we feel guilty for it. And so sometimes just having that person on the other side of a screen or on the other side of a table, if you're lucky enough to live nearby, it just brings you back to you again. And you realize I can love what I have, but still want something more, and it's okay. Or I can, like my book, the whole underlying theme of my book is that you can love yourself and still want to make changes in yourself. But those changes can be sustainable and full of joy if you can learn to love where your feet are right now and to look into the mirror and love that woman right now. You can make her anything you want her to be, whether that's career or your body or your relationships, but you got to love where you are if you're going to make it last forever,
Yes, that's so true. When we make it this big thing that I'll do tomorrow because it's just so hard and we imagine it will completely change our whole being in some magical way, then we kind of never reach for it because it seems unattainable. But when we understand that we're okay how we are now, and if there's some improvements that we want to make, why not make them? Why not look at that girl in the mirror and go, you know what, I'm going to do this for you today because I like where we're at and I want to enjoy it even more. In your book, you talk about body responsibility, and I feel like that fits in with what you're saying right now. There's body responsibility as opposed to body positivity. And so what is your belief on the fact that, or the assertion that every body is beautiful.
There was a short period of time where body positivity was all the rage. And there were all these discussions on social media and the people who thought, no, body positivity was just giving people the right to give up or to say, I'm good enough. And I don't think that there's anything, for me, there's nothing to that. Every body is worthy. Every body is beautiful, no matter what the size, no matter what your condition. And people like to focus in on and too big, but there are also people who are in their own minds too small. And I mean, like, there's such a wide range, and your body is so personal.
Yes.
How dare anyone think that they can talk about it, right?
Right.
But body responsibility is different. Body responsibility is I think essential to who we are as people. We should strive to be healthy enough that we can care for ourselves. We should strive to be healthy enough that we don't become an intentional burden on someone else in our lives. Now, there are always going to be circumstances that are beyond our control.
Sure.
And I'm certainly never going to voice an opinion on that because it's not mine to do so. But I should be healthy enough that I can live this life to the best of my ability without excess medication, or I should just do the things that I should do to live a good life and to do it by myself if I have to. I want to crawl on the ground with my grandkids.
Yes.
I want to enjoy these days with my children that I raised. I love being a mom of adult children. It's amazing.
Isn't it neat?
Yeah. And there's no magic 8-ball that's gonna, help us predict what's gonna happen in the future.
Right.
But if I have the power to do something to make my odds better, why not? Why not? And that includes moving. I don't have to move to earn my food. I don't have to eat, or, I don't have to restrict myself to be a certain size. I'm over those things. But I do have to eat and move and do the things necessary to be healthy.
Yes.
And that would be why I'm such a firm believer in body responsibility.
I've read in your book that you had a period of time where you put expectations on yourself and demands on yourself that you said you would never have put on anybody that you were coaching, that you were requiring extreme measures from yourself to get healthy. Can you talk about that part, when you ran into that and how you resolved that within yourself?
I just always felt like I had something to prove. When I made the decision to open the gym, I wanted to work with a specific company. And so I tried to prove to them I was good enough, right? And I exercised multiple times a day because I wanted my body to look the way my body should look. And I ate to match that same mentality. And now I would never tell someone it's wrong. There is no right or wrong when it comes to your wellness journey, as far as I'm concerned. You have to do what works for you in your life, in your family. But I exercised too often. I restricted my food. I just did the things that I knew how to do to trick my body into this size that it doesn't come to naturally. And after I opened the gym, I knew better, right? I had gotten these certifications, and I knew it was important to nourish your body. And I did have a period of time where I did it exactly by the book, and I remember one 4th of July, my husband and I were invited to a party, and a person that I worked out at the gym with was also going to be there. We took our own food because it was like so important to stay on plan that we didn't indulge in the deliciousness that was provided at this party. Now, how restrictive and how ridiculous is that? And yet the words at the gym, the words coming from my mouth, I never said to my clients, take your own food on vacation, take your own food to a birthday party. No, I told them, live your life. A little treat now and then is never going to hurt you, but I wasn't living that myself. And I have to tell you, as I sit here today, as a much wiser woman, um, I don't keep track. I eat in a certain way, and that's mostly, home cooked food and one ingredient foods put together, lots of vegetables and good proteins. But I don't worry if I have a glass of wine, and I don't worry if I have a piece of birthday cake, or if, oh my gosh, it hit 100 today, let's go get an ice cream cone. I don't think about things like that anymore.
Yeah, that's so lovely to be able to live in that freedom to take care of yourself and do the things that do allow you to have those small treats and those small moments that don't throw you completely off track, because 90% of the time, the way you're living life is with nutrition and wellness, which completely changes the game. I, like so many of us, have walked through a time when I had let myself go, not even realizing it, gained up to where I was 100 pounds overweight and feeling terrible. And it seems impossible to get started on a journey back from that. What would you recommend as just first steps for someone who is where I was and has no idea how to start getting back to themselves?
My book is full of I love to talk about crowding out. And I think we all know, even when we're in that place of decondition, or when we don't know where to start, we can identify some of the habits that we've picked up that seem impossible to just quit, but we know aren't doing us any good.
Yeah.
And so I'll use the example of one of my clients drank a lot of soda. I mean, like an excessive, a 12 pack of highly caffeinated, full on sugar soda every day. And for her to make a decision, I'm just going to quit, cold turkey, she would never have made it through, right? So she knew that it was bad for her, and we just worked on taking out the least important one. Today, we're not going to have this one that I usually have at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm driving to pick up my kids from school, because I just drink it out of habit. I'm not really even enjoying it, right? And if we take things out a little bit at a time, rather than trying to go cold turkey, I think your opportunity for success is much greater. And if a person maybe eats right but hasn't exercised for a long time, just taking that first step, like you said, that's so appropriate. Your first step. If you can't exercise, if you're not ready to walk around the block or to join a gym, just taking some multiple trips, maybe even to the mailbox, or moving your body, or walking downstairs to check on something when you don't have to. Taking the stairs, just those little things in life that can get you moving again. And if you really don't know what to do, there's so many amazing counselors and personal trainers and nutritionists out there. If resources allow, I would recommend hiring someone for the beginning. Even just that little bit of encouragement for the first 1 or 2 months to get you into a regular routine again can make all the difference.
I completely agree. You've got to have that support and that accountability, because we will talk ourselves out of even the things that are the best for us if we don't have a friend or someone in our corner to say, hey, did you do this? Did you mark this off the list today? If not, why not? You need to explain yourself because you said you would. I need that in my own life for sure. And
Yep.
When someone loves you and approaches you like that, it's very helpful because they're able to keep you on track.
I started my first exercise program with a girlfriend, and our work schedules at the time, we had to go at 5 a.m. And, there's nothing worse than knowing your girlfriend's going to be in your driveway and you're not going to be ready, right? I mean, that was
Yes.
huge motivation for me because I was not going to let her sit in the driveway and stare at my dark house. I had to get out of bed and meet her because I didn't
Yeah.
want her mad at me. So, um, yeah, that friend can be make all the differences as well.
That is such a good thought because I would imagine for one who is struggling with being too sedentary, maybe having a couple too many glasses of wine, a couple, too many pieces of cheesecake along the way, there is someone with whom you are drinking that wine and eating that cheesecake. And to link arms with that person and say,
Hmm.
hey, let's do this instead. That's really a great idea. I love that. So find a
Hmm.
friend and get started. Support is everything. And speaking of support being everything, what do you do? I have experienced this myself. What do you do whenever you have decided to make those changes and you're committed to them, but it's hard to get your family on board? Do you have any suggestions for
Mm.
that? Because that can
Yeah,
affect everything.
I was very upfront. I'm a firm believer in letting them know what's coming. I'm not going to try and surprise my kids. I had two active boys who like to eat, and for me to put something they weren't accustomed to on the table, and then was not going to do that. But they were really pretty on board. Um, I made a practice. We all ate the same like main meal, um, and and it was just easier to cook a protein and a side, right, or have a salad or whatever.
Mhm.
And so we would all eat the same main food. But then where I might have a salad or some steamed vegetables, there's nothing wrong with them having pasta. Nothing wrong with me having pasta either. But at the time in my goals, I was not going to totally focus on higher calorie food
Right,
groups, right? I
right.
was eating, but I could fill myself with a lot more vegetables than I can pasta and feel better. So,
So
but
true.
so I'd have the salad, they'd have the pasta, or maybe they'd have tacos and I'd have a taco salad, or but but then I also got them involved in it, and I taught them how to cook, and I let them choose what we were going to have, and they'd build the grocery list, and they'd cook the food, and then I'd have to clean up. And by making them a part of our healthier lifestyle and our real food lifestyle,
Mhm.
um, I just didn't have any trouble, you know. We'd play around with it. I know it's harder when kids are little. I watch my own. I have two little grandsons now.
Oh,
One is one, one
congratulations.
is two. Thank you, thank you. But they have definite likes and things that they haven't tried before, and it's not up here, right? They're putting it
Hmm.
in their mouths, and it doesn't taste the way they want it to. So I
Right.
get that there's some give and take, but gosh, we just kept trying things and trying to make it fun.
So make them a part of the process and make it fun and don't make it
Mhm.
militant. Make it integrate it into your family
Mhm.
in a fun way. And we do need to realize that our teenagers are not 50-year-old women who have to eat the way that we have to eat. But
Mhm.
whole food is always good. They probably need a lot more carbs with their active
Yes.
lifestyle, but there is a way to get complex carbohydrates into your diet and fulfill that in them as well.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting when you make that switch. I don't know if you experience this, but when I switched to mainly whole foods and cut out sugar, all of a sudden, like
Mhm.
strawberries and blueberries started tasting like candy. They tasted better
Yeah.
than that artificial sugar or too much natural sugar flavor. And so it's really neat how your taste buds will
Mhm.
adapt and how your body will tell you once you give it an option, it knows how it feels eating not so great, and then it knows how it feels to eat cleanly. Your body will tell you,
Mhm.
oh, no, we don't like that. Oh, this is really great. And I love that your body
Mhm.
just knows. I know that you are a woman of faith and you
Mhm.
believe that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. How did your faith inspire your work and inform your work as a wellness coach?
My faith my faith brought me to a place where I could be a good wellness coach because it was my faith that finally brought me back to a place where I could love myself again. I had reached a place where I didn't look in the mirror and love who I saw. And, but through my journaling, um, I flipped a page one day, and at the top of that page it said, "You are altogether beautiful, my love. There is no flaw in you," from the Song of
Mm.
Solomon. And it was the words that I needed at the moment that I needed them. I had just really reached a place where I was like, forget about it. It doesn't matter what I look like. I don't need to exercise. I don't, just forget about it. But in seeing that simple line of scripture, it made me think how much my God loves me, and how he created me perfectly in his image,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no flaw in me. In this world, I may get sick, and in this world, I may indulge, and in this world, I may do things that aren't good for my body. But my Father loves me the way I love my sons.
Mm.
And I look at my sons, and if my sons didn't love who they were, if they hated who they were, they looked in the mirror and they cut themselves down, that would break my heart. So I had to imagine how God loved me. And through that, it just kind of flipped everything. I mean, it's not about reaching a number on the scale, and it's not about reaching a size of pants, and it's not about your faithfulness to your workouts, right? I mean, if you miss one because your body hurts from the day before, miss one. Honor your body and
Mm-hmm.
love yourself the way that you should. And it's through that learning to love myself the way he wants me to that I have become a better coach. And if you and I were working together time and time again, I would catch you, because I don't people aren't allowed to say, "I feel so fat today." Well, no, you don't, because you're not. I mean, I see what's beautiful in you, even when you can't. But
Mm.
through my love and through my faith, I can now look in the mirror, and there are things I want to change. I'm never
Yeah.
going to be perfect. I'm never going to look in the mirror and say, "You made it."
Right.
There's always something. But gosh, I look in the mirror and I love who I am. And I love what I'm doing. And I love the people I've surrounded myself with. And there's nothing more important in this whole world. And so until the day I die, that's what I'm going to continue to tell other people about themselves.
That is
And
amazing.
try to stop me, because it feels so good once you start seeing the good in people instead of focusing on the bad. And once you start looking for the opportunities,
Mhm.
there's just not another way to live.
That
Yeah.
is exactly right. That's awesome. That's such an awesome perspective. In seeing yourself through God's eyes, you're able to see others in the same way. And in scripture, when Jesus was asked, Lord, what's the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And so we have to see value in ourselves in order to see that value in others, is how I
Mm-hmm.
take that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's lovely that you're out there doing
Yes.
that and taking care of people, taking care of their hearts, taking care of their spirits, and teaching them to take care of their bodies, which is so, so important. I think in the Gen X,
Mm-hmm.
um, we were just raised on processed food and sodas and Happy Meals. And it's been a bit of a journey for we Gen Xers to switch our mindset from, oh, I've eaten this way for this long, it's not that bad, to I really want to have an abundant life.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're
Mm-hmm.
here to tell us about that. And your book, Reflections of Joy, it was released last year, and it was a Christ Lit Award
Mm-hmm.
winner. Can you tell me about
Yes.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
When was that award given, and what is the Christ Lit Award?
I want to say it was awarded in June, and it's there. Once you publish a book, there are all kinds of different places where you can submit your books to be read and reviewed and rewarded. And this is one of those. I submitted my book, and they read it and came back and said, we love this. This is a representation of what we want to put out in the world. There are so many books that there are a lot of great books that are in the secular market,
Mm-hmm.
but they uplift those books that also touch maybe spiritual and really work on the hearts of the Christian reader. And then they promote throughout the year, and my book became a finalist for the book of the year. It didn't win the book of the year,
That's
but
awesome.
they're just a really great group that promote works that fit within their guidelines. So
Well,
there are several
congratulations.
others. Thank you.
I can't wait to finish reading your book. You also have KimMosimanWellness.com. Is that your website
Mm-hmm.
where people can go and find
It
out
is.
about
Yep.
your coaching and your book?
Mm-hmm.
And you can also go to Amazon and get that book.
Yep.
And I will link your website and the Amazon link to your book in the description of this podcast so it's easily accessible. Where can we find you on social media?
I am on Instagram and Facebook most of the time. I dabble in Threads a little bit, and I've started writing on Substack. And my Substack is the page is called Undeniable Joy. One of my goals for this year is to start writing a little bit more regularly. I feel like I've taken a break after finishing the book. So, and I am working with other authors now. I've kind of taken my coaching practice and realigned to help other, mostly women writers, promote their books as they're finishing up and getting ready to launch them into the world. And so I'm just kind of ebbing with where I find God placing opportunities for me. And right now it's in the publishing industry, helping women get the word out
Oh, that's so
about their
necessary.
books and their lives.
That's so necessary. There are so many women that I talk to that say, I would write a book if I knew what to do with it when I was finished. So that's a great thing to help women know how to publish their books. And I have to apologize. I mispronounced your name. It's Mosman.
That's fine. It's fine.
I want to make sure I
Yes,
pronounce your name
yes.
correctly. So KimMosmanWellness.com. Thank you for coming on today. I feel like we've just gotten so much out of this conversation.
Thank you.